PSG 2, Liverpool 0. It was on the expected lines. Welcome to Marching Reds. I am Aman Chima and here I am to review the game between PSG and Liverpool played in Paris for the first leg of the quarterfinal in the Champions League. And Arne Slot's team has now a mountain to climb come next week. So let's start looking at the game with much more details, starting with the fact that I was very excited to see this game, not because I was fancying my chances as a Liverpool fan. Of course, I would have liked to see my team win, and unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But it's sort of a mixed feeling right now. I mean, to have a two-goal deficit, even if you're heading to Anfield, knowing very well as of now how fragile this Liverpool team is looking like, is not something which is looking positive. But again, you have to put the context in every game now. And PSG were the favorites heading into this tie, and they still remain that. I mean, for Liverpool to overcome this lead, they have to put in another spectacular performance. And the recent results, and more importantly, the performances have shown that yeah, we are far away from putting another sort of a display like that. So I mean, looking at the lineup, it was, first of all, credits to Arne Slot, the fact that he wanted to change a few things, and yes, it did not work out eventually. I mean, it does require a lot of courage to be in the situation that you are in and still try to make a few changes structurally and with the personnel as well. So I think it was the first time after ages I've seen a Liverpool team in which I have had five defenders in the backline, although you could say it was a mix of a back three with those two wing backs. But Mamadashvili started in goal, knowing very well that Alisson was out. In the back three or back five, it was Milos Kerkez on the left wing back position. The three centre backs, like all our centre backs were named in the 11. It was Virgil van Dijk, Konate, Joe Gomez. Frimpong took on the right wing back position, and the other five remaining spots, the first three had to be occupied by our trusted trio of McAllister, Gravenberg, Soboslai. And for the remaining two spots, it was Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike who were the chosen ones. Now, looking at how they actually lined up on the pitch, for the first 10 odd minutes, it wasn't as clear, but then you started to understand that they have actually set up themselves in a 5-2-3 sort of a formation in which the five defenders are the obvious ones. Then it was a double pivot of Gravenberg and McAllister, and up top were Ekitike on the left side, Soboslai operating a bit more centrally, and Florian Wirtz on the right hand side of that line. So I mean, looking at it, it was looking conservative, if I have to be really honest. And I think that is how Arne Slot approached this game. The fact that we definitely could have not won this game or won this tie in this leg itself, but we could have definitely lost it. So the fact that he came away with a 2-0 loss is something that he could work with, and I am not taking any excuses. I'm not saying that this is the perfect scoreline that we expected. A loss is a loss. As a Liverpool fan, I would never be happy whenever my team loses. But had it been 4-0, 5-0, and credit where it's due, PSG had those chances and somehow they missed, then in that situation, it would have been already game over. But the fact that it is still 2-0 and you're heading back to Anfield, and with the lure of Anfield now needs to be there for us to sort of have any chance to make a comeback in this tie. That is what we are hoping on, banking upon. And yeah, I mean, in terms of the scoreline, okay, it could have been worse. Would have loved it to be a bit better, but we'll take it anyways. In terms of the performances, I mean, it's very tough to digest because for both the goals, Mamadashvili could have not done anything. And he did eventually make a lot of good saves, especially in that first half, which kept Liverpool in the tie. The defending line looked a bit haphazard. As a Liverpool fan, to see your team in disarray, that is not what you would have liked to see. But I could understand what Slot was trying to do. And even though it was a quick turnaround, to see that sort of a tactic being deployed and with players not knowing when they have to press, when they have to man mark, you could understand that naivety nature of this tactic. But to see Van Dijk be in all three centre back spots, sometimes Konate being the most forward, sometimes Joe Gomez almost being at the halfway line when the defending line is so back, you could see that the system has not been drilled down, which is acceptable because again, it's a 3-4 day turnaround, and it was, I think, a tactic that we will definitely not use for that Anfield game against PSG, let alone Fulham, because again, that is going to be a much bigger game for me. Looking at how the ending of our season is shaping up to be. So I could understand what Slot was trying to do, but it did not pay off. And I mean, in terms of the attacking line, like there wasn't anything to show for, no shots on target. I don't even think that there was any half decent chance for us. So it was all about being defensive and trying to curtail PSG scoring. And I mean, in the first, I think it was the first 11, 12 minutes or so when they scored their first goal, although from a deflection, and it still baffles me on how Desire Doué is able to get that shot after being surrounded by four players. And although, yeah, as I said, it's a deflection, but yeah, it's like, yeah, at that moment, I just thought that, okay, you know what, now we need to control the game because we cannot let PSG score another one quickly, because then again, it just becomes a more of a mental game rather than being played on the pitch. And I think we responded really well. So to go at halftime 1-0, you have to think about the most positive side of the game, the fact that you were hoping that somehow if we can get a goal from here, you know, we are back in the tie and, you know, give ourselves a best shot to sort of try to manage this. But in the second half, I mean, it was all PSG. And Kvaratskhelia, like what a goal. Like again, it was a similar mistake that we did against Manchester City in the FA Cup game. The fact that he was able to run from almost the halfway line to our box and nobody was able to track him. I think Szoboszlai lost him in that first half of that play, and then Gravenberch was, I think, 2 feet behind him. And the fact that he showed utmost composure in the box and the way he managed to get by our keeper and very coolly slot that second goal home for PSG. I mean, it was all credit to him. And then around 75 odd minutes or so, Liverpool started to use their bench. We got Isak, Cody Gakpo, Curtis Jones, Andy Robertson, and Trey Newni also came onto the pitch like for the dying moments of the game. And, you know, had we conceded that third goal, yeah, we at least in our minds would have been like, okay, you know what? The Champions League is not for us this season. But the fact that it has remained 2-0 has sort of just left the door open for us. And now we are just hoping that, you know, Anfield plays its part. The players play the part on Tuesday, the next Tuesday, the coming Tuesday. And yeah, hopefully we get to see another Liverpool comeback. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Although there will be a lot of noise because we've lost another game, 0 shots on target, nothing to offer attackingly, and Mohamed Salah was left on the bench, which has started to cause a lot of stir. And I know it's been a difficult season. I mean, I wasn't expecting a 3-0 victory for Liverpool, but the fact that we are still somehow alive in this tie just gives me the hope, which is enough for me as of now. But yeah, like I wasn't expecting much more from this team. It was good to see the fact that, you know, we still stayed in the game for as long as possible. We did not give up, at least after being 2-0 down. And, you know, this could have been a lot worse. But now this is the result that we need to take back to Anfield and sort of use it in the best way possible. So for me, I mean, as I've said in the preview, we've got nothing to lose in this tie. Either way, people are expecting us to get eliminated from this stage. And imagine if we don't, because correct me if I'm wrong, the last time these two teams played in the knockout stage of the Champions League, and whichever team was leading at the halftime break after the first leg, we all know how that story panned out. So that is what I'm hoping for. That is what I'm banking upon. And if that's the case, it is going to be one hell of a story. So Fulham is up next in the Premier League, and I think that is a massive game for Arne Slot for Liverpool. That is more of a must-win game now. And yeah, I just hope that if we can get a positive result against Fulham, and that would just sort of help at least boost our morale and the way we approach the second leg of this tie. Mind you, PSG do not play this week in their domestic league because they've got that exemption to play from their, I think it was against Rennes, if I'm not wrong. And like they would just be playing the Liverpool game at Anfield. So let me know what you thought when you saw this game in the comment section below. As a Liverpool fan, even if it takes a lot of courage to say this, but I would hope that you would still have the belief, would still have the hope with this team. And even if it looks unlikely, as a fan, that's the most we could do. So let me know what you thought about this game. Let me know if you think Arne Slot could have approached this game differently. And I would love to see your comments in that comment section below. I'll see you very shortly in the next one. Till then, take care.